And welcome to ESPN Saturday Primetime. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. In this state, football has always been king, but today, basketball takes center stage and reaches new heights. Number 1 Auburn has made the trip to Tuscaloosa, where the second-ranked Crimson Tide and their passionate fan base awaits. Mark Sears, an All-America candidate for the Tide, leads this high-powered Alabama offense, number 1 in the nation in points per game. Johni Broome is a Player of the Year candidate and does it all for the Tigers. It is game on today here in Alabama between number 1 and number 2.
Auburn and Alabama primed to go head-to-head.
If you want to do anything for the Auburn family, you beat Alabama.
I've been hearing all week, it's going to be a war. And we built for all this.
Are you willing to do what it takes to be the beast?
Let's go! We got to go through them, and they got to go through us.
What a scene it is today. Number 1 Auburn, number 2 Alabama. And don't you know, this is an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. They are 1 and 2 in the nation. They are tied atop the SEC. Each team at 10 and 1. Whoever wins obviously has a leg up. Don't forget, they'll meet 3 weeks from today in the jungle. Everybody is fired up for this one. Nobody more than Bruce Pearl.
Who's number 1? We don't know. Who's number 1? Who's going to act like number 1? Who's going to play like number 1? Who's going to handle adversity like number 1? Who's going to honor the game with no shit like number 1? Who's going to prepare like number 1? Who's going to give God the glory and victory and defeat like number 1? Who is?
Well, no matter who you're rooting for, if that doesn't get you going, we're fired up. Games like this, folks, don't come along very often. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, 2 teams that love to get up and down. They can really score the basketball, and it may be fighting for the top overall ranking right now. Number 1, number 2. The offensive numbers are off the charts for both the Tigers and the Crimson Tide. What are you thinking about going into this one?
Alabama averages 90 points a game. They make 10 threes a game, just coming off a game they played against Texas where they made 17 threes. But to get those threes, they can't turn the ball over. If Alabama has single-digit turnovers and they limit Auburn to single-digit offensive rebounds, they're going to have a great chance to win this game. And for Auburn, I mean, Auburn's got to keep Alabama out of the paint. That's how they generate those threes. They're a slot-driving, paint-grabbing team. Keep them out of the paint. You've got a great chance to win.
Easier said than done when the opposition is this good. Let's hear more from Jess Sims.
Dan, former high school math teacher turned current Alabama head coach Nate Oates reached for his Excel spreadsheets to prepare for today's game. Now, not the one with the X's and O's or the stats, but the one with a list of quotes from some of the best coaches and athletes of all time. He decided to use some quotes and some videos from Tom Brady and Nick Saban saying, hey, the big game doesn't feel as big if you've prepared the same way for all the other big games you've had. And I think it's safe to say, Dan, that both these coaches tonight are ready for this big game.
Both of these coaches, Jess, thank you very much, are ready. And Jay, and we'll talk about this over the course of the afternoon, these are 2 of the very best coaches in America. What they have done with these 2 programs in recent years. Nate Oates, Alabama had never been to a Final Four until last year. He's also got 2 SEC regular season championships and 2 SEC tournament titles. And this is just his 6th year here in Tuscaloosa. And on the other side, Bruce Pearl took Auburn to a Final Four in 2019. The Tigers had never been there. And just like Oates, 2 SEC regular season championships, 2 SEC tournament championships. 2 of the very best at their craft.
Nate Oates does a tremendous job with analytics. Alabama wants to get to the rim. They want to shoot open threes, and they want to get to the foul line. They're not taking mid-range jumpers. And Bruce Pearl, a little bit more old school, run a lot of flex action along the baseline. They're looking to get the ball to Johni Broome inside, and Alabama wants to keep him away from his left hand.
We are ready for the tip of our Sonic blockbuster matchup. And so is this loud, sold-out crowd here inside Coleman Coliseum. The most heavily anticipated college basketball game in this state's history. And it'll be Auburn, the visiting team, wearing white today, getting the first possession.